had so much fun with the crowds. We met a lot of people. And I think that really gives you a good feeling. No drugs in the world, no alcohol, no anything can give you the feeling of what that does to you. You go out there, light your beer, there's no feeling at all.
I think that if Slaughter was going to hold its own amongst ourselves, we will write better songs, we will learn to play better, continue to perform better. I think we'll never lose track of where we came from with our fans, and we'll not have time to do what we've done with our fans in Lawrence here. And we'll write a great record. We won't put it out until it's done. To be honest with you, it's been a tremendous year for Slaughter. We've had a lot of ups and we had a lot of great people on the way on the tours. First of all, to start out with is thanking everybody out there that supported the band and has been there for us, because without you guys, we wouldn't be here. I just want to say that this year on the road has been the best time of my life, and I think I speak for the rest of the guys. This is the year we'll remember forever. It was 1990, 1991. We've all had the best time with our brothers. We live together. It's amazing that we can actually still be friends, and we're actually bought houses, right now, frequency, we're going to hang out off the road.
People have been very supportive of us. We won the music awards for our first tour. We couldn't ask for more. And we're very thankful for all the times that we've been out here. We're still out here touring, because a lot of bands go out for a little while for that's it.
I think if I would think that I know it all, I'd probably be able to before I started. This in terms of my career. It's an opportunity to have that. If you're happy, you get this go.
I know that today is the year anniversary of you guys being on the road, and you have had a year like none other. So you want to sum this up for me?
Non-stop. We were out with Kiss. We did some dates with Cinderella and Poison and other bands along with those dates, and we did our own shows as well. And by the time this all said and done, we're going to do over 300 dates in that time. So we've been out for quite a while, but it's pushed us over double platinum. So it's I mean, the people have been great. They've been, very supportive of us. Even on our own days, we've had sellouts. Like tonight is we're at Air Force Base, and it's a sold out show. And we can't believe it that our record is 64 weeks and more on the charts and still going.
Out of this entire year, I know that today is your 1 year anniversary. What do you want to be most remembered for from this past year?
I think that if I had my druthers, Slaughter would be remembered as a people's band and as a new type of street band, in the sense that when you say street, people in the streets can't necessarily afford like the extravagant leather clothing and some of what goes on Melrose Boulevard in Hollywood. And to me, keeping in touch with the streets is knowing what your fans are thinking and staying in touch with your fans. I think for a year, in our 1 year anniversary, we're still out here on the road tonight playing at the Arnold Hall Air Force Academy. Which is 3,000 people, sold out in advance in about 3 hours. And I'd hope to be remembered as a band that toured and toured and toured like the old 70s bands were doing. When I was in high school and junior high school, I'll never forget seeing Black Sabbath or Black Oak, Arkansas, just constantly touring back and forth and back. Every 4 weeks you look in the paper, returning one night only, and you're like, God, I just saw them. But there was a thing, because you knew they were real, and you knew, man, these guys are out there. And Bad Company, very famous for doing that as well. They were always on tour. And Van Halen, in their early days, also always on tour. And I'd love to be remembered as a band that had the balls to stay out on the road, tour and tour and tour. And the type of band that I hope turned around a lot of people's view in terms of rock and roll musicians on what they would do for their fans. For us, the fans put us there, so our attitude was, let's put them everywhere we can too, whether it be in our videos, whether it be one-on-one out by our tour bus, whether it be continuing to play. We've done inflation fighting concerts in New York when the ticket prices were extremely high. We did a $12 ticket price, which was half of what it normally is. We've played in a kid's garage as a radio giveaway. We've played in a Taco Bell in Miami as a couple million selling rock band as a challenge. What are you guys going to do next? And I said, let's play a Taco Bell parking lot. And we gave 10 cents per drink sold to the Miami Drug Coalition, which is an anti-drug organization. The band is anti-drugs. So I wish we could be remembered for that and having good times.
Such an odd thing to hear you say, hopefully we'll be on tour again. I mean, you haven't had a break.
People, people are like, are you guys sick of being on the road? 'Cause we've been on the road for about a year and a half now, and it's like, this is what I've always dreamed of since I was a kid. Every one of us, and when we decided to do this, we said, we're gonna go out there just like the bands did in the '70s. We're gonna tour, and for just forever, basically, until they basically tell us to go home, because we're not the kind of band that got a lot of radio airplay. We weren't very successful on the radio. Our success came through playing live, meeting the fans, and working with the people. We'd go and meet people in the radio stations and try to get them to play our songs, but the roots of our music's basically with the fans, and playing on the road's a big part of that, and we enjoy it very much. And if we didn't, I think our career would be over, because with a band called Slaughter, you're not gonna be successful if you sit home and wait for your success to happen off radio or whatever.
It's been a year. Today is the anniversary date, and we're all very, proud and happy that we've lasted this long. No, to be honest with you, it's been a tremendous year for Slaughter. We've had a lot of ups and a lot of really pleasant memories, and we met a lot of great people on the way on our tours. And the first thing I want to start out with is thanking everybody out there that supported the band and has been there for us, because without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So it's been a great year, and thanks for being there for us.
Do you have any certain day that if you were to just wake up, what day would you think back on that was just the most stupendous?
Probably winning the American Music Award, and that to Slaughter meant a lot, because it was like the Grammys is more industry choosings. The AMA is the people's choice, and we were so proud that we were chosen by the people rather than the industry of being the favorite new hard rock heavy metal band. It meant a lot to us, and we were just very proud and honored. I mean, it totally took us by surprise, because we were sitting there and we talked with the guys from Motley Crue, and they've won quite a few awards, and they says, still to this day, after winning this many awards, we still forget what to say when we go up there when we win our award. And of course, Slaughter had the same problem. We had all these things that we wanted to say, and we get up there, we're like, ugh. But it was just a tremendous time for us, and I think that was probably one of the biggest highlights. Another big highlight would probably be a year ago today. Was our first show together as a live band in Lubbock, Texas, and our record has just gone double platinum, and today, a year ago, it had gone gold. So we had gotten our gold records the same night of the first show as a live band together, because we had never played live together as a band. So it was just so exciting and thrilling for us to get a live record the first day of our first time touring live as a band in front of 10,000 people in Lubbock, Texas. So we've had so many high points. I don't even have too many bummer things to tell you, I mean, it's all been so good for us, and like I said, it's really because the fans were there for us, and we appreciate that.
That's very much the truth. That's a neat statement. Have you guys actually sat down and maybe worried of it not happening again?
No, I mean, we're not. Basically, we're all having the best time of our lives. I mean, this is. I can absolutely say that this year on the road has been the best time of my life, and I think I speak for the rest of the guys. This the year that we'll remember forever is 1990 and 91. We've all had the best time. We're like brothers. We're closer than brothers now. We live together, and it's amazing that we can actually still be friends. And we actually bought houses, right down the street from each other. We're gonna hang out off the road, and I think that kind of chemistry, with that kind of chemistry, there's nothing that can go wrong at this point. I can't see that, because we all love playing music so much, and we enjoy doing the same things. I think we're going to be around for a while. Whether or not the album's as successful as this one, it doesn't matter, because like I said, we enjoy doing it, and we will be doing it for a long time.
So what are your plans from here?
Well, we did a track for Bill and Ted Goes to Hell, the sequel to Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Adventures. We did that on the road, because we never stopped playing and touring. We did it while we were on the road in San Antonio, Texas. We did it at a Days Inn banquet room in San Antonio, Texas, and we had a lot of fun doing it. We just slammed it down, recorded on a little mini recorder, and then we went up to Los Angeles on one day off, and then when we went up into Canada, we recorded in Little Mountain, where Aerosmith and Motley Crue and all our rock friends have done their records. And it turned out really good. After we're all done with the touring that we're going to do right now, and that track is going for us, we're going to be starting on our next record. So what a concept.
So you're done?
Done after 300 dates. Yeah, I think we're going to throw in the towel for a week and then start writing the next record.
Oh my God. So looking back on it, first of all, did you surpass your dreams?
I think that we did in the fact that the whole record has lasted so long. People have been very supportive of us. We won the American Music Awards. I think that for our first year we couldn't ask for more. I mean, we're very thankful for all the times that we've been out here and still out here touring, because a lot of bands go out for maybe a month and that's it, you know. And we're lucky enough to be one of the few bands that are out there still playing rock and roll, and while the rap and the dance and this other stuff is starting to dominate the airways, you know, we're lucky that we're still playing rock and roll through it all.
And even you're off tour and you're still high up in the charts.
Yep. Yep, just nonstop. It's amazing.
Are you going to release anything else? I mean, besides your Bill and Ted?
No, I think what we're going to do is we have 2 tracks that we recorded on the last record that we didn't put on. I mean, that would be 17 tracks on our first record. I don't think that'd be too much for the public to handle.
Maybe not.
Yeah, who knows? And so we're going to throw those 2 tracks along with whatever ones we throw together. I think it'll take about a month to write the whole record and get in the studio. I figure about a month and a half to record, because that's what the last one took. And I think it'll go relatively very quickly and painlessly. And it should be out in the beginning part of '92.
So you've already written it?
No.
Can you let us in on anything on this new record this year?
Yes, I can. We have a song called Move to the Music that we play a verse and an intro before Mad About You live, and we're giving people a little taste of it because we think we're going to put it on our next record. And we also just did a song for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure sequel called Bill and Ted Go to Hell, which I'm sure another band member's mentioned. And we're very excited about that track because it's a very up-tempo party summertime song, and it's very Slaughter, and it's not predictable. When you hear the song, you're not going to say, that's what I'd expect Slaughter to do next. It's real rockin', and it's real gutsy, and I just like it. It's just a good vibe, and I think it's one of the better things we've done in a while. And who knows what's going to happen with that? You know, they might promote it as a single. We might have real good luck with that.
Bill and Ted was written on the road. It took us an hour and a half, and still when we went in and recorded it, I had no lyrics. That's just the way I like to do it. We went in, it's kind of a strange theory, but you go in and you're just spontaneous, and after everything's tracked and the guitar solos are down, and it's basically everybody turns a chair and goes, okay, now it's time for you to write the lyrics. And then, so then I just sit down and write the lyrics, and if I get stumped, I say, hey guys, you know, help me out with this, and it goes real quick. And
Did you have situations like that on the first record?
where I got stumped?
Well, just where you sat down and wrote everything spontaneous like
Yeah,
that?
it was all written that way. In fact, we wrote on pizza boxes and just anything that was around, because we didn't have paper in the studio. It was one of those, you know, studios that was a very cheap studio to record at, but at the same time they didn't have the paper to do it. But I think it's funner that way. I think it's a lot more fun just to go in and just say, you know, let's just record, you know. Just have a good time. Let's rock and roll. Let's have a good time. And I think that if you go in with a corporate rock attitude, we're going to sell records, we're going to write like this, and this song's going to be, there's our ballad, there's our token ballad, and there's this and that. I don't think that you can sell, you know, and be happy with yourself every night when you go out in front of these people. I think it's the most important thing is to be true and honest with yourself.
So have you been this way since childhood?
Have I been this way since childhood? Yeah.
Pretty much. You're
Pretty much, yeah. I haven't changed. It's luckily we have 4 guys that if there was anything that was in a change, you kick yourself. You know, each guy kicks each other in the butt and says, "Hey, realize, you know, this is, you know, we're just lucky to be out here." And I think that it's a good band. I mean, the Slaughter is a great band in a sense that we all still get along. I mean, a lot of bands have little, you know, problems or quirks of, you know, the guy's a great player, but he's an asshole or whatever, you know. We get along really well. I mean, we're still, last night, we talked till 5 in the morning on the front of the bus, in the front lounge, and there's plenty of places to go crash in the bunks or whatever, but I think we get along really well, and that's a good feeling to know that you have a band that gets along and is ready to work and be around for a long time.
Don't you know, what you're doing to me? Only you drive me wild, you're my ecstasy. Can't you tell by the look in my eyes that I love you? Oh, I gotta show you what I feel in my heart, 'cause I knew it's right
What's the one thing that you think the four of you have the most in common?
Our love of music and the people that inspire us musically. I think that's probably one of the most common things. We all like, we all come from a background of 70s rock and roll, Aerosmith, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. So we all, of course, had the same focus on our, what we'd like to hear and what we'd like to play. I think that would be and plus, we have a lot of fun together, still to this day, we can talk to each other, there's no weird feelings. I mean, I know a lot of bands probably have a hard time dealing with each other after being on the road for a long time, but we actually still have fun to this point, and it's a great time for us. After we have these long drives on the bus after the shows, and instead of sleeping on the bus, we'll stay up and talk to each other, and we give each other constructive criticism about the shows, and it just keeps us all mentally in the same focus and same direction, and we're workers, we want to be out here, we want to be doing what we do, you know what I mean? So to us, it's just a great time. It's not really a job, you know what I mean?
What is it that ties you guys together?
Music, and I think the same reason that we grew up on a lot of the same bands, like I said, a lot of the early 70s bands who were on the road forever, and we enjoyed going to concerts, having that feeling, of seeing the lights go down and the band come up, and that's basically, what we've all dreamed of, and now that we're doing it, we can't imagine doing anything else, and hopefully we're giving a lot of younger people the same feeling that they've lost in bands who are just relying on MTV and radio to, for their success, and there's really a really good feeling that you get from seeing a live band, and hopefully we're bringing that back.
What are you most proud of looking back on this year?
Most proud of this year, the fact that we've, I think, played so many dates and had so much fun with the crowds. I mean, and meeting the people. We've met a lot of people, and I think that really gives you a good feeling. I mean, no drugs in the world, no alcohol, no anything can give you the feeling of what that does to you. I mean, when you go out there and the lighter's in the air, or people are screaming, or there's no feeling in the world like that, and that's what we love. And those people out there love rock and roll, and we love rock and roll. We have a good time. We're music fans, A lot of bands go around and say, we're whatever we are, and that's it. That's all we listen to. Well, we listen to other bands, like I said, Aerosmith, Motley Crue, Poison, all these other bands. We're fans of them too, because they're rock bands that we look up to as well.
Very much so. Would you change anything?
I wouldn't change anything. I think that we've been very successful, and as far as changing anything, I really couldn't be anything but myself, and the same with the rest of the guys.
And what about anything about yourself? If you could change anything about yourself, what would you change?
If I could change anything about I'd let my hair grow longer. That's what I'd love to have, my hair longer. I'm gonna let my hair grow down my ass.
What are you gonna do with it? A mohawk, some braids?
No, I'm just gonna let it grow down to my ass. That's if I could do anything, but I'm doing that, so.
As you go along.
Yeah.
You have such a free and easy spirit about you. How would you describe yourself?
How do I describe myself? When I'm wearing red, very obnoxious. I just say, just down to earth. I think that would be the best way to describe what I am.
I'm not insecure about my music, and I'm not insecure about growing as a producer and learning to mix better and learning to make better sounding records. I thrive on that. I just produced a band by the name of Kick Tracy, and I'm learning and learning and learning and learning, more and more and more as I go. I think if I were to think that I know it all, I'd probably be over before I started. I'm young at this in terms of my career. A couple of years from Alva Kane, I don't want to worry about that. But I think you get insecure about your personal life because you don't have one. And I think if any musician would be guilty of insecurity, it would be the minute you get off the stage or you're out of the circle of people you're around, instantly you're right back to the normality of everyday life, and you don't have everyday life. So I think, everybody's insecure about their personal life. What personal life? You can't have a personal life. And when you do have a personal life, it's severely fucked with. That's insecurity.
How would you describe your band?
I'd say down to earth, but equally as obnoxious as myself.
Red shirt or not?
Yeah,
huh?
red shirt or not, they're there, man.
Yeah. So, being that this is the last date that we're seeing here tonight, and all the time, I know there's a million interviews to do, and this and that, meeting this person. But what did you do on your on time off? What did you do to occupy your time?
Well, I think as far as time off, we really haven't had much of it. I mean, we've done some instances where we've gone out and played the Arsenio Hall show, flown out, been in Montreal while we're recording Bill and Ted, you know, the song Shout It Out. I mean, it's just never ending. We're just flying around everywhere and just doing stuff. But, you know, it's as far as like changing anything in the sense of all the things we've done, I mean, I wouldn't change anything.
So what are you going to do? This time off is coming up
Yeah,
here, Tim.
it's pretty crazy. Yeah, we've all just gotten some cars, and we've got some homes, and I miss my dogs. I really miss my dogs, so I'm going to be hanging out with them, bringing them out to the park and fishing, and then I'm going to go to LA for a day, of course. Can't get away from business for too long. And then, of course, we start up with the Poison Tour again, which is going to be great for us. We're very excited about it because we had been out with them previously, and it was a great package, and they're a great bunch of guys, and they treated us really great. And the shows this summer are all outdoor venues that we've played a lot of on the KISS Tour, and we call them sheds because they're outdoor, made out of aluminum. And they're really, really fun shows, and especially because we're in the middle slot, so we get to play in the dark with the lights. And it's going to be a lot better for us. We're really, really looking forward to it, and that'll be with Bullet Boys as well.
Plan on doing my time off. I think I'm gonna start working on my new drum set for next year, and the one I had this year, it's pretty much an identity thing now, you know, and it's been in all the videos, and everybody knows my kit. You know, we call it the Beast. But for next year, I'm gonna have something completely different, and it's gonna be, you know, I can't really give too much away now because I know somebody will steal my ideas, but it's gonna be pretty cool. And other than that, you know, I think we're all gonna take some time off, hit the lake in Las Vegas. I think I might buy me a boat or some jet skis and hang out by the lake. Start, you know, working on some new material for the new record and prepare for that. You know, hopefully we'll be on tour again by next early next year, possibly by February.
So you're a kind of the kind of man that's always thinking ahead. What's coming up here for you? For us, even better.
Well, I think for everybody that's gotten turned on to Slaughter, you can certainly count on quality material, and if the material isn't up to quality, it won't come out. I think the sound of our records, our first album, we hope that we put sonically a real good starting place, and we have an awful lot of respect for Mutt Lange, who does the Def Leppard records, probably some of the best sounding records in the business. And I don't think almost anybody would dispute that. You know, Mike Frazier, who mixed Aerosmith and Motley Crue, also another one of these real guys. I think we're going to move on to, I didn't do it! I think we're going to move on to one of these kind of guys as a mixer on a record. That's not part of the prank we're pulling on them, I swear. Their band's name's Firehouse, but we're not sounding a fire alarm. Anyway, we're gonna move on and get a real good sonic thing happening again, and I think you can look forward to growth. I think you can look forward to growth in the material. I think you can look forward to growth in the performance, and I think you can look forward to probably more and more of a down-to-earth attitude, because when you're not insecure about your career not happening, you can do whatever you want. And what we want to do is have fun. I want to make the name Slaughter synonymous with good times, fun, and if you go to their show, you're bound to have a couple of good laughs and see some great music.
Are you insecure about anything?
Sure. I'm insecure about a lot of things. I mean, I'm insecure about that fucking bell!
Can you give me any insight on this next album?
I'd say the next record will be very, I think it'll be a wider spectrum in the sense that we've grown a lot on the road. We put our record out from just being in the studio. The band was formed in the studio, we recorded in the studio, and the first time we ever played live is 1 year from today with KISS, May 4th in Lubbock, Texas. And a lot of things have changed when you go out there every night and you get to know how each player plays. You learn how to play off that, and I think that the next record is going to be a good growth because we've grown together as a band, and when we were put together, we were a band in a sense because we've, put the songs together, but now we're really a band.
How did you guys all get together? I know this is an old story, but to sum it up at the very end, how'd you get together?
Well, of course, Mark and Dana came from a previous situation, and the record company chose Mark on a leading member option to go with him and contract him. And at first, I think their first intentions was doing a solo project, and Mark, because of his previous situation, wanted a band, all for one for all, where everyone got along really well and everyone was treated fairly, and that was a really big priority with him. So they said, fine, come up with the guys and let's see what you guys can do, So they did an extensive search at the end of their last previous situation, and they had probably 700 video cassettes and cassettes and different bios from different guitar players and drummers. Blas had already been one of maybe 10 or 15 people when I had first met Mark. It was at a barbecue. It wasn't really on a musical level. I was having a birthday party barbecue for a roommate of mine who had a mutual friend of Mark's. Mark came to the party and we were talking about music and guitars and instruments, and it really wasn't about him being in a band and needing to look for guys and me, wanting a gig or anything like that. We just started talking about music, and one thing led to another, and he heard a tape with me playing on it and he really liked what he heard. But more than that, he liked my personality because I have a funny sense of humor. I'm pretty pornographic. And he really dug that. And he says, you're going to get along great with Dana. He says, we really like your personality. I'd like you to come down and meet Dana. And he was at the time working on a band called Brunette down at Cherokee Studios. And I went down there and played for him on a little amp. And he really liked my personality too. And we hit it off. And I played for him for a little while. And he says, do you think you could handle being on a tour bus? And I think that was more important to them than how great of a player I was. Of course, they needed a good player, but they were more interested in having someone in the band they could get along with because of the rough times they went through before. And there really wasn't a day where they said, okay, Tim and Blas, you guys have the gig and blah, blah, blah. We just started hanging out with each other. And then we went up, and Mark and Dana had this little groveled apartment, and we had these little amps down on the floors and a 4-track, and we just started working on song ideas for about 2.5 weeks. We compiled all the material that's on the record, minus 2 of the songs that we saved. And we went in after we did the 4 tracks, and we did extensive demos, and then showed it to the label. They really liked what they heard, and we went in and started recording the album.
I think that if Slaughter was going to hold its own amongst ourselves, we will write better songs, we will learn to play better and continue to perform better. I think that we'll never lose track of where we came from with our fans, and we'll never lose or not have time to do what we've done with our fans in the last year, and we'll write a great record, and we won't put it out until it's done. We won't put out a record ahead of its time just because the record company's decided that you have to put it out. There's a lot a musician can be involved in if he wants to be one of those non-liked guys around. I never was really trying to vow to be the president of the United States or like the most liked guy in the world in terms of my musical peers. I just wanted to get a band off the ground in a very honest way and work pretty hard to do it. And if you have to tell a record company it's not time yet, then you have to tell them, sorry, I know you want to make money, but it's not time yet. And again, you're not a liked person for doing that because they got a business agenda they want to deal with. And to me, pretty much fuck their business agenda. If it isn't ready, it's not ready.
My favorite song off this record, still this day, I say "Fly the Angels," because that song is timeless in my heart.
Can you tell me the story on it? What it was written about? How you wrote it?
Yeah. What happened was I was looking for an old girlfriend of mine, and I had all my friends over in Vegas looking for her, and I heard she was in San Diego or working at the store, and I kind of looked around, tried to find her, called San Diego, looked around the malls where she was working supposedly. Didn't find her. Then one evening about 9 o'clock at night, one of my friends called up and said, I have some really bad news. Cindy died 2 days ago, and her funeral's tomorrow morning. So I thought, well, I'm going to go to her funeral. I mean, I wasn't invited. It was kind of rude on my part, but since I've talked to her mother and she's, good people, and I went to her funeral, and there's flowers. A very well-loved girl, and there were flowers everywhere, and that's how the line, Heaven awaits your heart and flowers bloom in your name. I mean, it's a song from my heart. So it's a song of letting go of somebody you care about in a death situation. I mean, it could be a pet, your best friend, somebody, your family or something. But you just have to let go and live your life and be happy. And that's what Slaughter is, a very positive band, although the name doesn't have that. It has a real positive vibe, and that's what we're about.
Ooh, I got this feeling, but I gotta let you go, 'cause now you got to fly, not truly hate it. Heaven awaits your heart, and flowers bloom in your name. Whoa, you gotta fly, not truly hate it.
We're hanging out here with Blas Elias, and a question I've always wanted to know. On the front of your drum set, you've had the For Rent there forever, and I always wondered where this whole concept came up.
That concept came up when we were shooting our first video, and I didn't have enough money at the time to buy a drum set. I had like half of a Sonar drum set and half like a little Japanese drum set, and it didn't really look good enough for a video. And so I was looking for a sponsor, and the company that I had the drum set of, they wouldn't give me it was just like 3 more pieces of a drum set. Wouldn't have cost them virtually anything, and they wouldn't give me the pieces of the drum set. And I told them, it's gonna be like, on MTV everywhere, and I was like really hyping them, and they were like, they didn't really believe in me. So all these companies, that wanted me to put their names on my drum set, and they wouldn't give me any equipment. And I was like, forget that. So I, got me a cheap drum set, and the first video, Up All Night, basically, it would not last 2 days on the road. It was just for the video. It fell apart after the video, and I decided to scratch all the names of the drum company off and put this bass for rent. And I've actually had a lot of offers on that, Taco Bell, Pepsi.
Oh, you're kidding!
But nothing. I'm not selling out yet. Not yet.
Not selling out yet. It's not that time. Pretty good.
Oh, I don't think your personal life is at all the only downfall of business. First of all, I thrive on it. I thrive on the music business in general. So for me, it isn't really a downfall. I'd say culture shock is a downfall. In other words, you're around excitement, noise, you're around helliest people all the time. The audience is raving. And all of a sudden, when you're not around that, or you're in a hotel room, you're like, wow, what's real? Is this real, or is that real? And I don't know that I have all the answers, but I think they're both real, and they're both, and probably what started early musicians doing drugs is it's very hard to figure that out, especially if you don't pride yourself on being a realist. Many musicians that see their photograph in magazines or see video shows such as this one, believe it. And the only thing you can believe is your honesty and sincerity in doing what you do. I think the minute that you say, yeah, I am big, that's me, look, that's me, hello, look how popular we are. I think that at that point in your life, when you start believing all of that and believing, you deserve that car, and you deserve that house, and you deserve 3 model girlfriends, not just one. You need one in the Midwest, one in the East, and one in the West. When you believe that, I think that you're probably on your way out. And I think that a lot of rock bands probably go through those growing pains. Somebody in the band buys it. Yeah, there's a reason I'm in the centerfold. There's a reason. To me, the reason that Slaughter's there is because we're lucky. The reason that we're there is because we were in the right place at the right time, and we try to make, music that we hope caters to people having fun. I don't think we deserve that. I don't think that we deserve it more than any other good band that's out there. I think that I've tried hard, and maybe I came up with a few ways to get the band to do it before X, Y, whatever did that. And that's not referring to a band named X, Y, whatever. It's funny, these days you say a letter of the alphabet, you call the band's name. So I think we're lucky. I think that we're very lucky to go out and play to sold out houses every night. I think we're lucky to go out and play every night. So I have a very different attitude on it. I mean, I tie my hair back and I'm a working dude. I go in the studio and I try and make good music for other people as well. And I'm a worker. I have to be the first one in, the last one out. So it's not a glamorous thing. I don't look at the music business as glamour. I see pictures sometimes, in magazines of cocktail parties. I'm like, where the fuck was I during that? Generally I'm not there. I was never a guy that was the rainbow hangout dude. I was always in the studio trying to learn, or living with a girl that I probably had to beg off a couch on or something, and that just wasn't my life. And I know there are a lot of people that could give you the opposite scenario where that was their life. They were there, and many times that social activity helped them become what they became, and they spawned their music off of that social life. Early Motley Crue was a great deal of spawning off of that social thing in Hollywood. Slaughter just doesn't have that. It would be unbelievable to imagine Mark Slaughter doing that. You know, it's just, to me, honesty and believability in music is real important. I believe Mark Slaughter doing what he does, which is being a regular, real guy, singing his balls off, but he's not a guy I'd expect to be sitting here in an interview. Oh, wow, you know, he's just not like that. So if I was going to help create an image, the best image I could create is be you. You don't have to create anything. Be yourself.
Easiest way to go. Did somebody walk in? Okay, I just want to make sure no one was gonna yelp at us. Wait a minute, I had a great train of thought there and I just lost myself. Oh, with the videos that you put out, which is a total of 4 on this album?
4 in the home video.
4 in the home video. How do you think that the world perceives you?
That's a joke. I think which part of the world? The part of the world that scratches their head and, God, I can't believe these guys sold any records. That would probably be Finland, Holland. I give you all kinds of the world. You know, we have a shitty record company in the rest of the world. We have a record company that doesn't really understand how to distribute records. So the rest of the world, Slaughter has not garnered the popularity that we have in the United States because we're here to beat up people. We're not in Finland, Holland, or what have you. We went to Europe with Cinderella. We were surprised at how much popularity we had and depressed because if it was done right, how much popularity we could have had. Synonymous with Motley Crue, which took several albums to garner that. Poison, several albums to garner that. Warren, still having a problem garnering that. For us, I hope the world perceives us as real, fun, honesty. I don't know, you know, I think the videos, each one in their own light is different. Up All Night was very raw because the band was very raw. It had more girl footage in it because there's probably less band to shoot. Truth. Flight of the Angels was just honest, it was the song. I think you could have done anything you wanted to do on that song and probably the song would have still been what it was. It was just, it'd be hard to ruin that kind of song. We were proud of the song. Spend My Life With You was a different kind of video because it was slightly more of a pop-oriented song for us, and then Mad About You was back to what we are, back to what we do, you know, rather than being different. It's like what you'd see on stage. Fun, holding instruments out and letting people play them. Things that I always wanted to do when I was younger. I wish, you know, a guy in Black Sabbath would have let me touch his instrument. I would have died, you know.
What about the home video?
Home video was more of a hilarity of what our lives were like. I wanted somebody to see the real Tim Kelly, the real Blas Elias, the real me and the real Mark. Our homes, the way we live, life in the streets of Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a very strange town in the sense that very few people have any understanding of what goes on there. I live there and I don't know what goes on there. So the race car stuff, I mean, what guy doesn't want to learn to drive a race car? I mean, we were dying and we wanted to show people, you know. Dude, check this out, you know? I mean, we were stoked as you would be to see it, and I hope that came across in the home video. Platinum home video later, I think it did.
Just a little bit, just a little bit. Why Vegas? I've always been curious about that.
There's a funny story behind that. First of all, Mark came from Vegas, and I used to go gamble to earn extra money to produce records and be in the music business. I've always gambled and played around with business, as you probably would almost gather, and I used to gamble to keep myself alive. Just in pocket money. I used to go to Las Vegas, take a flight or even drive, which was godforsaken. Go with $400 that I saved, scrimped, stole, whatever, and turned it into a couple grand, blackjack, and or dice, and blow out instantly. But when I went in, I'd always visit Mark Slaughter, who lived in Vegas, and I more and more was hippening up to the town, and it's very many sides, and. It was originally done as kind of a cheaper alternative because Los Angeles is very expensive to live in if you want to own anything. And I said, well, look, at least this way I'll know that I was very responsible with my band guys. And I told them, now I know you'll have a place to live. So many musicians that even become famous have no place to live. They come off the road and they're basically, you know, they're in worse shape than they were when they left. And I couldn't do that knowing that I was the oldest guy in the band and I wasn't just born yesterday and young, dumb, and full of cum. I had to get, you know, some sort of semblance of responsibility and kind of tell these guys, look, I don't want to see you worse than you started. Why don't you buy yourself something here, and if the band really kicks, who knows, you'll have another something, and you can go over to Laurel Canyon or wherever it is you want. But Vegas is a bizarre town, and I enjoy it, you know.
I'm just curious in terms of the bizarre. What if, I don't even know how to term that.
What's the bazaar?
What is the bazaar?
The bazaar is you're in the middle of Green Acres, you know, which would be very similar to Simi Valley, California, or Thousand Oaks, or something in the San Fernando Valley. But in moments, you could lose your entire life savings by simply driving 6 blocks down the street and dumping everything you have on a dice table. It's an unbelievable amount of control. Unbelievable amount of control that it takes to not do that, especially if you're financially oriented like I am. Man, you're like, whoo. And then you're like, no, whoo. Yeah. It could be worse than women for a guy that really enjoys women. It could be like, you know, a girl walks by and you're like, yeah. It could be like saying, don't look. And you're like,
You must really be up the creek then with
I'm
both
up
of
the
those.
creek.
with both
I'm
of
up the
those.
creek, but it's a good control exercise, you know, to keep your shit together. And the other bazaar is all of a sudden you drive 20 minutes and you're absolutely in the middle of this unbelievable serene desert, realizing that, you know, that's a lot more powerful than man. That desert has existed thousands and thousands of years. And you look around and you realize, you know, without artificial means, nothing lives out there. And California was also a big desert, but you don't realize it anymore because it's so built over, you'd never know where you were. You drive 20 minutes up towards Valencia or Palmdale, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, where am I? People in the Midwest and in the East and the rest of the world think California is paved in gold. They think Beverly Hills, the streets are literally lined in gold. Little did they know that Beverly Hills is 2 square miles of the most phony bullshit you've ever seen in your life, and no one that lives in California lives there. And if they do, they'd never be watching this, and they'd never be working on this, and they'd never give a fuck about any of us anyway. Okay? Their lives are far, 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 quote, in their minds above all this. So it's the same thing with West Hollywood and Hollywood. You know, a lot of people, God, it's so big. I got to get out of this Des Moines, Iowa shit, man. It's so small out here, and oh, it's miserable, and I'm terrible. And I'm like, how big's Des Moines? Well, you know, 30 miles or whatever. How big do you think Hollywood is? So how about 6 miles at the best? That's driving diagonally. You know, and they don't realize that, like, if you're with someone, all of Hollywood will know that within days. They think it's going to be different there, you know.
Hey, tell me, I want to ask you about a video here. Tell me about Mad About You, the day that you made it. And
Yeah, it was an exciting video for us. We finally, as a band, all decided the way we really wanted to see this video come off and how we wanted it done. Before, we've had say in every video we've done, but Mad About You was something that we were very persistent on. We wanted a live video that was big and grandiose, but yet we wanted, instead of separating the fans from the band, like so many live videos do, performance videos, they have the band on the stage and the crowd in front of it. We wanted to design a stage so that the crowd could be within the band, so that we were closer to the people. And it was, Mad About You had a double meaning in the video, meaning mad about the fans as well. And it can also mean, you know, having a, you know, a psycho girlfriend that you're number. I mean, it can mean a lot of things, but in the video, I think the vibe we were coming across was we're mad about the fans because they put us where we were, and it was like paying tribute to the fans and all the things that they've done for us this year. And it was a good, fun time for everybody, and it was probably one of the easiest, fastest videos we've made. And it was a very exciting, up-tempo video, and when we first saw it back, we were like very pleased with how it came out. Very pleased.
Don't you know